May 12, 1944. Camp Hearn, Texas. Late afternoon. The train slows with a metallic groan. Dust rises along the tracks as the brakes grind to a halt under the brutal Texas sun. Inside the boxcars, dozens of German soldiers sit shoulder to shoulder on rough wooden benches. Their uniforms are faded field gray. Some still carry the creases of the European front, mud stains from Normandy hedgerows, oil from Panzer engines, soot from artillery smoke. For a moment, nobody moves. Then the doors slide open. Blinding sunlight floods the car. "Rouse, move!" An American guard waves them down with a casual motion of his hand. The voice is firm, but not angry. The men blink against the brightness as they step onto the platform, boots hitting American soil for the first time. They expected something different. Many had been told stories during the Atlantic crossing, rumors whispered between prisoners aboard crowded transport ships, stories that sounded absurd. In America, they said, prisoners ate better than German soldiers. Fresh meat, white bread, coffee, Coca-Cola. Propaganda, of course. It had to be. Private Hans Becker, a 22-year-old infantryman from Bavaria, adjusts the strap of his worn field cap as he steps onto the dusty ground. His ribs still ache from weeks of rationed meals during the final months in France. Around him, the prisoners look cautiously at the camp. Barbed wire fences, watchtowers, wooden barracks lined in neat rows. It looks exactly like a prison camp, but something feels different. No shouting, no chaos, just quiet efficiency. American guards in olive uniforms stand relaxed with rifles slung across their shoulders. Some chew gum. One leans against a jeep smoking. A jeep. The small vehicle immediately catches the prisoner's attention. Becker watches it roll past slowly, engine humming smoothly. It's clean, well-maintained. Even the tires look new. He exchanges a glance with the man beside him, Gefreiter Karl Müller, a former mechanic from Hamburg. Müller whispers quietly, "Everything looks new." Becker nods, but says nothing. They are marched toward a wooden processing building. Inside, clerks sit at desks with typewriters. The clicking of keys fills the room like steady machine gun fire. Names are recorded, ranks confirmed, dog tags checked. A U.S. Army officer reads from a clipboard. "You are prisoners of war under the protection of the Geneva Convention. You will be treated accordingly." Few of the Germans fully understand the English, but the tone is calm, procedural, not threatening. Still, they remain cautious. German soldiers have heard stories about Soviet camps, stories whispered on the Eastern Front about starvation, forced labor, and death marches. Nobody knows what American camps will be like. Outside, the sun sinks lower over the Texas fields. The prisoners are marched toward a long wooden barracks building. Inside, rows of bunks wait. Clean mattresses, fresh blankets. The men hesitate. Becker runs his hand across the blanket on his bunk. It feels thick, heavy, warmer than anything he had slept under in months. Across the room, Müller shakes his head slowly. "This is strange," he mutters. But the strangest moment comes an hour later. A bell rings outside. An American guard opens the barrack door. "Mess time!" The prisoners exchange confused looks. Mess time? Already? They are escorted across the yard to a large dining hall. The building smells unfamiliar. Not the sour scent of thin soup, not boiled cabbage. Something richer, something heavier. As the doors open, the smell hits them all at once. Cooked meat, fresh bread, real coffee. The prisoners freeze. Inside, American kitchen workers place metal trays along a serving counter. Steam rises from the food under bright electric lights. Becker stares. His stomach tightens painfully. For months, his meals had been small slices of black bread, watery turnip soup, and occasionally a thin piece of horse meat when supplies allowed. Now the smell in the air feels almost overwhelming. But the prisoners remain skeptical. Mueller leans close and whispers, "Careful." Why? Propaganda. Several men nod quietly. The Reich propaganda ministry had warned soldiers about this. The Americans would try to break their morale. They would use luxury and comfort as psychological warfare. Better food, better beds, better treatment. To make Germany seem weak, to make prisoners lose faith. Becker looks again at the trays behind the counter. Thick cuts of meat, golden loaves of bread, glass bottles stacked in crates. Impossible. No army could feed prisoners like that, not during a world war. An American cook notices their hesitation and gestures forward. "Come on, fellas, step up." The first prisoner moves cautiously down the line. A metal tray is placed in his hands. Then something astonishing happens. The cook places a large steak on the tray. Not a small piece, a full steak. The prisoner freezes. Behind him, the line of Germans goes completely silent. Then comes the bread. Thick slices of white bread, butter, potatoes. And finally, a glass bottle slides across the counter. Dark liquid inside. The label is unmistakable. Coca-Cola. The prisoner stares at it as if it might explode. Behind him, Becker whispers under his breath, "Das ist unmöglich." This is impossible. Yet it's only the beginning of what these prisoners are about to realize. Because the food on that tray is not propaganda. It is something far more unsettling. And within days, the German prisoners will begin to understand a truth far more terrifying than captivity itself. A truth about American power and the war. A truth that will quietly spread through the camp like wildfire.
For a few seconds, no one in the mess hall moves. The German prisoners simply stand there, trays in their hands, staring at the food as if it might disappear. The steak is real. Not thin, not gristly. Thick, juicy, steam still rising from the surface. Private Hans Becker steps forward slowly, almost cautiously, like a man approaching a trap. The American cook drops the steak onto his tray with a casual motion. Metal hits metal. The sound echoes louder than it should. Then comes the bread, white bread, soft, fresh, the kind most Germans had not seen since the early years of the war. Next, a scoop of potatoes. Then, the final item slides toward him across the counter. A cold glass bottle. The dark liquid inside glints under the electric lights. Coca-Cola. Becker picks it up carefully, turning it in his hand. The label is written in English, but the name is unmistakable. Even in Germany before the war, Coca-Cola had been sold in small quantities. But here, it's being handed to prisoners? Behind him, Gefreiter Karl Mueller receives the same tray. He stares at the steak, then at the bottle, then quietly mutters under his breath, "This is theater." Becker nods slowly. Of course it is. It must be. The Americans want them to believe this abundance is normal, that America has food to waste even on captured enemies. Psychological warfare. Several other prisoners murmur the same thought as they move through the line. Propaganda, only for today. They want us to talk about it. The men take their seats at long wooden tables. For a moment, nobody eats. They sit silently, staring down at their trays. Across the hall, American guards stand casually along the walls. Some talk quietly among themselves. One leans against the doorframe, sipping coffee. They look completely uninterested, which somehow makes it stranger. Mueller pokes the steak cautiously with his fork. Juice runs across the metal tray. Real meat, not the gray, rubbery scraps the Wehrmacht kitchens had been serving during the last winter in Europe. Becker cuts a small piece. The knife slides through easily. He raises the bite slowly to his mouth. For a second, he hesitates. Then he eats. The taste hits him immediately. Salt, fat, warmth, flavor. His eyes widen. Across the table, Mueller notices. Well, Becker chews slowly, then swallows. It's real. The words spread down the table instantly. Several prisoners begin eating more quickly now, disbelief turning into hunger. Forks scrape across trays, bread is torn apart, butter melts into the soft white slices. Within seconds, the entire hall fills with sounds of eating. But the Coca-Cola remains untouched. The bottles sit upright beside the trays like strange artifacts. Finally, Mueller picks his up. He studies the metal cap. "You know how to open it?" Becker asks. Mueller shakes his head. An American guard nearby notices their confusion. Without a word, he walks over, takes the bottle, and hooks the cap against a small metal opener mounted to the wall. Pop! The cap flies off with a sharp metallic snap. The guard hands the bottle back. "Try it." Then he walks away again. Mueller raises the bottle slowly. He takes a cautious sip. The reaction is immediate. His eyes widen. "What is it?" Becker asks. Mueller lowers the bottle, staring at it. "It's cold." Becker frowns. "Cold?" Mueller nods. "Cold and sweet." He takes another drink, longer this time. Soon, the other prisoners are opening their bottles as well. One by one, the distinctive sound echoes through the hall. Pop, pop, pop. A strange chorus. Some laugh quietly in disbelief. Others drink silently. The sugar hits their systems like electricity. For months, most had lived on rations barely exceeding starvation levels. Now their bodies react instantly to the sudden calories. The room begins to fill with murmured conversations. "It can't be normal. They are trying to impress us. It will stop tomorrow." Becker listens quietly while finishing the last piece of his steak. He looks around the hall. The American cooks continue serving food without any sense of performance. Guards talk casually among themselves. One soldier yawns. Nobody is watching the prisoners. Nobody seems interested in their reaction. That is what unsettles Becker the most. If this were propaganda, wouldn't someone be observing, recording reactions, taking photographs? But the Americans behave as if this meal is completely ordinary, as if feeding prisoners steak and Coca-Cola means nothing at all. Later that evening, the prisoners return to their barracks. The sun has set, the Texas air has cooled slightly, and a quiet wind moves across the fields outside the wire. Men sit on their bunks, still talking about the meal. "It's a trick," one insists. "They want us to think America is rich." Mueller lies back on his bunk, staring at the wooden ceiling. But what if it isn't a trick? The room grows quiet. "What do you mean?" Becker asks. Mueller sits up slowly. "I worked in a factory in Hamburg before the war. Machinery, logistics." He pauses. "Do you know how difficult it is to move food during wartime?" Several men nod. German railways had been constantly strained by Allied bombing. Supplies barely reached frontline units. Mueller continues. "To feed prisoners like that every day, you would need enormous production." Becker thinks about the Jeep he saw earlier. Brand new tires, shining metal, fuel. Everything about the camp looked plentiful. Mueller lowers his voice. If they can afford to feed enemy prisoners like that, he lets the thought hang in the air. No one finishes the sentence, but every man in the room understands it. Because if America truly has that level of abundance, then the war may already be decided. And over the next few weeks, the German prisoners will start seeing even more signs of it. Signs that will slowly destroy the belief many of them carried across the Atlantic. Because the food was only the first hint. The real shock is still coming. Morning comes early in Texas. The sun rises hard and bright over the flat fields surrounding Camp Hearn, cutting long shadows across the barbed wire fences. A whistle blows somewhere outside the barracks. Inside, the German prisoners stir awake. For a moment, Private Hans Becker forgets where he is. The mattress beneath him feels too soft, the blanket too thick. Back in Europe,
Sleep often meant damp ground, cold trenches, or crowded rail cars. Here, the bed is dry, comfortable. That alone feels unnatural. Around him, the other men are waking up as well. Boots hit the wooden floor. Someone yawns loudly. Another man stretches his arms, surprised by how rested he feels. Then the smell arrives again. Coffee. Real coffee. It drifts through the barrack windows, carried by the warm morning breeze. Several prisoners exchange confused looks. Already? Breakfast? They file out toward the mess hall, still half expecting yesterday's meal to have been some kind of one-time spectacle. Perhaps today the truth will appear. Thin soup, stale bread, the kind of meals prisoners normally receive in wartime. But when they step inside the mess hall, the sight waiting for them makes several men stop in their tracks. Eggs. Piles of scrambled eggs steaming under metal trays. Sausage. Stacks of pancakes. Bowls of fruit. And coffee. Endless coffee. An American cook scoops eggs onto Becker's tray as casually as if feeding factory workers during a lunch break. No ceremony, no speeches, just routine. The Germans sit down slowly. Mueller stares at the food. This cannot be real. Becker takes a sip of the coffee. Strong, hot, bitter. The taste almost shocks him. For years, German civilians have been drinking ersatz coffee, a miserable substitute made from roasted barley or acorns. Real coffee beans have become nearly impossible to obtain after Allied naval blockades tightened around the Reich. Yet here it is, served to prisoners. The realization begins spreading quietly through the room. If this is propaganda, it is extremely expensive propaganda, and it keeps repeating. Over the next few days, the prisoners begin to notice other things about the camp, things that feel increasingly difficult to explain. Every morning, trucks arrive outside the compound. Supply trucks. American soldiers unload crates by the dozens. Food crates, medical supplies, clothing, equipment. The shipments never seem to stop. Becker watches from inside the fence as a convoy pulls in one afternoon. 3 trucks, then 5 more, each packed with wooden boxes stamped with neat black lettering. U.S. Army Quartermaster Corps. Mueller stands beside him, arms folded. Look at that. The trucks idle with engines running smoothly. Mechanics move efficiently, unloading crates with practiced speed. No one appears rushed. No one looks worried about shortages. It feels like watching a perfectly functioning machine. Later that afternoon, a camp guard named Sergeant William Carter speaks briefly with a group of prisoners during a supervised work detail. Carter is older than most of the American soldiers, maybe mid-30s. His accent is Southern, his tone calm. He gestures toward the road where another supply truck passes. "You boys are lucky. Some camps back in Europe got it rough." Mueller raises an eyebrow. "You mean German camps?" Carter shrugs slightly. "Depends where you end up." He pauses, then adds casually, "America's got plenty to go around." The words hang in the air. Plenty to go around. Becker thinks about the ships that must have carried them across the Atlantic, the trucks delivering food, the massive kitchens feeding hundreds of prisoners without hesitation. He begins noticing other details too. The American guards rotate shifts regularly. They receive fresh uniforms, fresh boots. Every Jeep in the camp runs perfectly. Fuel is never scarce. One afternoon, Becker notices something that unsettles him more than anything else. A stack of newspapers near the guard station. American newspapers. The headlines show photographs of enormous shipyards, miles of steel hulls under construction, cranes towering above the water, Liberty ships lined up along the docks. One article describes a shipyard in Richmond, California, where workers have managed to build an entire cargo ship in just 4 days. 4 days. Becker stares at the photograph. Back in Germany, entire factories struggled for months to produce complex machinery. Allied bombing raids constantly interrupted production. Steel shortages slowed everything. Yet here,
The Americans are launching ships faster than most nations could repair them. Mueller reads the article over Becker's shoulder, then quietly mutters something in German. Wenn das stimmt. If that is true, he doesn't finish the sentence, but Becker knows exactly what he means. Because if America truly has the ability to build ships, trucks, weapons, and food supplies at that scale, then Germany